I wanted to know what your thoughts are on the Apple Pro RAW photography file.
Oh, it's interesting. I thought, like, on one hand, one of the reasons I love my iPhone and its cameras is that, like, I believe it or not, I don't always have like a massive professional camera with me, or sometimes I don't want to use it. I just want to, like, taking a walk, and this is a cool thing. Let me take a picture. And I love that really easily. I can get a pretty good picture from my phone. That's nice, but so for me, it's not going to be super common that I'm going to want to shoot with their sort of new RAW format on my phone. Because if I really want that, I'm probably going to have like a bigger camera with me. But there are definitely people who want the highest quality. Let's say you're somebody who travels, and the iPhone might be your best camera. Like, cool that they have the raw capability, and they've had RAW capture for photos for I think a couple of years now. But the new Apple Pro RAW is supposed to be different because it includes information for their photo processing, because they do a lot of really good photo processing for noise reduction and sharpening and color work and dynamic range. And so the idea before was that you'd shoot RAW, but you wouldn't get any of that processing from Apple. You'd just get the raw data, which often would end up looking worse if you processed it yourself, because you wouldn't get all the magic that their processor would give you. So supposedly the new format's supposed to give you the best of both. You're going to have the ability to adjust it like a normal RAW file, but also keep all the sort of image processing that Apple can do. And I don't know exactly how they keep that. I don't know how the file is like actually formatted, but from what they say, it should be kind of the best of both worlds. You'll get their great processing on top of being able to edit it more if you want. So I think that's pretty cool. That's one thing that this phone has really made me realize is like the photos are, for what it is, it's kind of incredible. It's super thin, tiny little phone, and it takes pretty good photos. What I wish is like I want this $10,000 Fuji camera I have to have the brain of this iPhone, because I can take awesome photos with my medium format camera. And I have the skill in Photoshop to make it look great. But imagine what we could do if we had this massive sensor paired with a modern amount of AI and modern image processing. It's not like most Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji cameras. They have great processors inside. They do a good job. They process quickly, but the stuff that phone makers are doing with the amount, like the stuff that they can do with these tiny phone sensors and make them look acceptable. Like I'm wishing that we can see what imagine putting 2 or 3 of these iPhone processors into a big camera that's just a camera and not worrying about anything else and letting it process the pixels. That would be, I feel like that is where sort of the world is going, right? I mean, like, eventually all the big camera manufacturers are going to have to build in more smarts to their cameras, because that's, you can only do so much. Physics only allows for so much improvement in cameras. You can only make the sensor so big. You can only make the lens so big. You can only improve efficiency of light capture so much. So I feel like the next sort of horizon for that is pairing the best tech that we have with these really good machine learning and with really good image processing to do more with the files that we already have, to do more with the tech that we already have.
Mm-hmm. So in the last podcast that we recorded, and Trevor mentioned that Apple photography is kind of more for the casual, like less professional, I think, photographers or creators. How much do you think the Apple Pro RAW will be adopted by actual professionals, or how do you think it'll contribute, or what?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, Apple Pro RAW as a file format, that's just going to be for iPhones right now, right? So it's just going to be, if you shoot with your iPhone, then you can shoot with the Pro RAW format and be able to process it better. I think that there will be a lot of professionals who just happen to only have their phone. Let's say they're on vacation, they take a photo. Yeah, it's going to help. But I'm going to be honest, like, of course, anybody who actually is very serious about photography, pretty much everybody's going to have some other kind of camera they're going to be using. So yeah, I don't, it'll be cool that it's there, but it's not going to shake things up. Nobody's going to not buy a Sony or Canon or something just because it doesn't have the same features. I think it's a nice feature. I don't necessarily think it's a game changer. This is coming from somebody whose entire life is photography, basically. Like I said before, what I wish is that we could get something like Pro RAW for all these other cameras, for these awesome cameras, because like I said, Sony and Canon and Fuji, they have all these great sensors in them that are way bigger than iPhones, but they have just standard processors. So, could we get Pro RAW? But that's never going to happen, because Apple's not going to make a standalone camera as far as we know. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be one of those nice to have things. I don't think it's going to really change the world, but hey, it could make a few people's photos better, and that's always good.
Does Apple Pro RAW apply also to like any video formats, or it's just for photography?
It's just for still photos, as far as I know, because raw video is still relatively rare. I mean, some cameras are now supporting it more, but raw video, the data rate is super high and it's kind of difficult to process. But one thing that I think is everybody's saying has made a surprising difference is the HDR video recording on the new iPhones. I guess they're the first cameras to natively just record to Dolby Vision HDR, which it sounds like when I first heard the feature, I was like, okay, great. Like, who really cares about Dolby Vision cat videos on Instagram? But I mean, I can see the difference. Like, I can record something on my phone, and it just looks really good. It's one of those. I think it's all those features where, like, most people who buy an iPhone are never gonna know what the hell Dolby Vision is or what HDR even means. But they're gonna take a video on their phone on vacation, and it's gonna look really colorful and really sharp, and it's gonna look great. So you know what I mean? Like, those words and features impress people like us because wow, we understand them. But I think ultimately, as long as it makes the video look better, which it does, it like appreciably looks different. I think that's a good thing. But I think it's kind of cool. I'm not really used to seeing like HDR immediately after you shoot it. I've noticed that even with the photos. I feel like it was different between this phone and my old one. Like if you take a photo of a really high dynamic range scene, like this, for instance, the sun is in the frame, that'll be really bright on the screen, and everything else will be normal. So it's kind of, I feel like now I finally feel like we're slowly moving to a point where consumers now will be capturing HDR photos and videos by default. Once more people start using it, in a couple of years, more people will have iPhones like this, for instance, or other Android phones. And then it'll make more sense now that we have all these HDR TVs. Because before you had to just watch an HDR movie that was graded by a professional from a studio. But now you'll benefit by just having a phone in your pocket that also records decent HDR. So that's kind of cool. It's like the tech is finally trickling down more. It used to take, a massive post-production house and these big cameras, and now you have, of course, the quality is different because it's a phone, but I'm saying you're getting a bit of that in a consumer device you keep in your pocket, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome. Because like another thing was like when we had Dolby Vision to be able to like, let's say like you got an advertise like, oh, this has a 4K Dolby Vision on this 4K Blu-ray, but like no one had that kind of TV for a while, and like now you can actually view it on like the newest iPhones and some of the newest Androids, so it's like pretty nice, right?
Yeah, and now I guess, like I said, more interestingly, you can record to it. Your phone, like I think by default now, the iPhones just record Dolby Vision encoded video, and I think it's a newer standard. I've heard there's actually some technical hiccups there where the videos don't play perfectly on every single TV. Like certain things have to be updated to work with the new iPhone Dolby Vision videos, but so there's always going to be some problems where like things have to be updated, but eventually you'll be in a place where you can take a video on your iPhone and play it on a TV, hopefully, and it looks better than it did a couple years ago. That's the idea, right? That everything starts to continually looks a little better every year with the new tech that we get.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so those are cool things, I guess. Like I said, it was funny. I'm sort of this guy who's always been super into Apple, and yeah, the new phones are cool, but we'll see. I don't know. Not super exciting, but still great. So it's sort of like anything else in life where maybe you go to your favorite restaurant and you get the dish you love, and it's not exciting because you've had it a lot before, but you still love it a lot. So that's like me with this iPhone. It's like not blowing me away, but it's also comfortable, and I really like it because it's super high quality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.